morning, and my prayer for this, Lord, help me to be a channel. Come through me. Let me touch somebody. Let me be that channel. And I was reminded when you mentioned that on this program, that's what we do. We provoke, inspire, and we equip you to live your purpose, right? And how painful is it that while you're trying to figure out your purpose, you're busy looking around to check.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
You haven't even come round to mastering what your own purpose is, or what your own calling is, or what's in front of you. You haven't mastered it, but you are busy looking next door.
True that.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people, Christians. I'm a Christian myself, and you find so many Christians are very prayerful. So many Christians will spend a lot of time in prayer, but then prayer alone does not get you to the destination that you're supposed to get at.
Right.
Prayer and action, faith plus action is what causes God's unction and his favor and doors to open upon you. So there's so many people out there who are very prayerful. There's nothing wrong with being prayerful, but be somebody who watches and prays, somebody who is action oriented and prays, because prayer alone does not yield results. Therefore, we need to be a generation and a people who understand. Otherwise, Africa is where it is today because, trust you me, there are so many very strong, prayerful warriors out there, but they are not action-oriented. But on this planet, trust you me, the Bible said there is seed time and harvest, right?
Yeah.
Not just prayer time and expecting God to do something.
Like after praying, what are you doing?
True that, because
2 weeks.
so God will bless the works of your hands. But then majority of us, are spending. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with prayer, but guys, we're in moderation. Remember, you need to work. You cannot be, get me correctly, I hope I'm not misquoted, be, going to church every day and so much time is being consumed in things that are not rewarding you financially.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you become a very, spiritual person, but then in your pockets, you lack things. And, this is a message for somebody who's out there listening. Your prayer is great, but now, like your amazing topic, what did you say your thing is? Just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
Yeah.
Becky
is just do it. And we have to become the just do it type of people. To no matter, yes. But let's become more action oriented so that we can get the results, and then our prayer adds to that.
Adds to that. And the prayer made ravens to bring food to Elijah.
But Elijah was working. People shouldn't misquote
People
that.
shouldn't misquote that.
Yeah, people shouldn't misquote that.
You know what? Work and prayer.
Yeah.
It's actually prayer, work, and then you get the result.
True.
Because you can work, and you can harvest zero. Washanda kudaro, the land can be cursed.
True.
But you're like, but I'm working, I'm putting in the work. Wonderful. You applied the principle of work, right? What about the principle of prayer? What about the principle of communicating with the higher power? Why are you living out that principle? True. So you work, you pray, and you will succeed. You pray, you work, you will succeed. So you pray, work, and act.
True that.
Yeah, there's no need for you to be doing one thing and leaving out the other.
Very true.
On Hustle Hard today, we're talking about focus on yourself and not on others. It can be easy to fall into a pattern of doing things for others rather than for ourselves, right? I used to be that kind of person who say, can I help you? Can I help you? Then I turn around and I'm like, what have I done for myself? I haven't improved myself one bit. I haven't improved my intellect. I haven't improved anything about myself, but I was so willing to assist others. And this is what we want to talk about. To undervalue our present well-being, but eventually this can cause burnout, and then we're not good to anyone. Even Superman needs to take a day off.
True that.
Without some time for ourselves and allowing some well-earned relaxation, we may end up having a negative impact on the things we are trying so hard to maintain. For example, we can end up representing the things we are trying to maintain or develop. In order to avoid such things, we need to check in with and focus on ourselves more regularly so that we do not misrepresent the end goal. Here you are focusing on what others are doing and not on what Becky is doing or what George is doing or my Matipa or Tafadzwa or Tanatswa. Focus on you. Take us through it.
Yeah, true that. So there's a quote that says, wherever your focus goes, your energy flows. Right? Wherever your focus goes, your energy flows.
Right.
And so many people today are focusing on the wrong things, and they are wasting their energy on unproductive things, which do not build, which do not encourage, which do not inspire, which do not do any positive development things to themselves.
Right.
Which is why people are where they are today.
So take that line again.
Where your focus goes, your energy flows.
Absolutely.
So in this day and age, trust you me, one of the greatest distractions for the youth and even some adults is social media. And they are focusing on that. And on social media, what will happen, you will begin to see people's success. You know, on social media, very rarely, and I say very rarely, do you see a picture of somebody who is going through a bad time or things that are, you know, in the stage where they were beginning or things were hard. You only get to see the full-fledged, flourished individual, the flower when it's blossoming.
Absolutely.
And what then happens, you focus on that without understanding that, wait a minute,
It was work.
this person planted a seed, and that seed took time to germinate. And after 10 to 15 years, this person has germinated and now has become the person that they are today. What then happens to people when they see that? This is what's happening currently now, where people are living a life which they are not equipped to sustain financially because they are focusing on the end product of a certain individual, yet they are at the beginning stage. You know, it's very misleading when you watch a movie 10 minutes before it finishes and you see this guy kicking somebody, and then, yeah, that's the end of the movie. Everything was bright and rosy, but you did not go to the beginning, to the actual start of that, to see what actually transpired for that person to then end up where they are. And this is where we are misplacing our focus. We are so concerned with other people's success and not concerned on how they became successful, but on just the end result, which is what's leading so many people out there to be driving cars they shouldn't be driving, to be living a lifestyle to please other people when they themselves are not financially there yet to be living the life that they're living, for them to be peer pressured to take their kids on, you know, very expensive things and living a lifestyle which is above and beyond. You know, imagine a boss of an organization driving the latest car, but then his own institution does not have a fleet of cars or is not paying his workers well because he wants to put up a front that is success. And this is what is killing a lot of people out there, because their focus is going on the wrong things, and their energy is also following in that regard. And it has caused a lot of people being in serious debt, being unhappy. It's caused a lot of marriages to, you know, collapse. It's caused a lot of people to become depressed, because, you know, when you see people going on holiday or people living a certain life, understand they are choices that specific people made for them to plan on going on that course. But then when you want to do it and imitate other people, you don't have the financial backing, you don't have the business, you don't have the, you know, income coming in, even though you're away, to be able to sustain that life. Therefore, you're going to see yourself being put in a very uncomfortable situation, which is, you know, led by peer pressure and wanting, like we said, to please people. And that lack of focus on understanding what you want to become and what you want to be ultimately will hinder you from becoming what God purposed you to be.
Is there an age or a stage where peer pressure ceases to be peer pressure? Would a 40-year-old suffer from something like that?
You know, with what's happening right now, a lot of people, because of social media, trust you me, social media has made people, I love to use social media productively. I love to understand, how people are making it and what they're doing and what principles they put out. But it doesn't matter what age it is. Young people are being influenced by social media to be peer pressure to do certain things. Even those there's no age limit to peer pressure. Everybody is succumbing to this thing because their lack of focus on what they want to become has become a huge distraction in them fulfilling a sustainable, stable source of income and a lifestyle that can be fruitful not only for their generation but the next generation. And this is one of the serious issues that you have to take self-reflection on, taking yourself accountable to say, where do I want to be? Now, one thing I did with some of my mentees on the GB mentorship, I asked, what is your 5-year goal? Where do you want to be in 5 years? Now, BeckyK, I know if I ask you that, you have a clear-cut vision of where you want to go. It
took time, though.
Yeah, it did.
But get
it correctly. The moment you actually take a pen and a journal, not a paper, and a journal, and actually begin to write something down, the mind begins to envision it, and you begin to see that, wait a minute, I want to harvest 10 hectares of this. This is my vision, right? When you write it down, no matter what distraction comes your way, you have a clear plan written on what you want to do. So if somebody comes and says, hey, let's do this, your focus is clear because you know what you want to achieve.
And you will also know if Dubai is in the plan.
That's right.
If it's not in the plan, you should not be doing anything to deal with that.
And imagine there are people who, if somebody buys a new phone or a new car, they are pressured to say, I think, Nasara, let me buy a new this. Let me buy new hair. Let me, So your lack of focus on what your long-term goals is going to affect so many people in becoming what they're supposed to be. Now, there's lack of discipline, there's lack of, focus on knowing, this is what I want to do. And guess what? It's going to deter a lot of people who don't have a vision and a plan of what they want to be.
That's painful. We need to take a quick break, but when we come back, we are going to answer some of the questions or read some of the questions that are coming through and answer them. Also, read some of the contributions. But I leave you with this, with the question that George posed and said, "Do you know where you want to be in 5 years?" When we come back.
Capping off a superb year with a
Some don't know what they're doing next week.
Yes.
Some don't know what they're doing next week.
Imagine that.
Or even like tomorrow.
At the Mass
Imagine
Super
that.
Brand
Yeah, it's crazy.
2023 Awards, the Herald emerged the winner in the print media category, while the Sunday Mail was the second runner-up. Superbly done.
We are delighted that our brands continue to dominate and we will keep soaring higher. A big thank you to our readers and advertisers for making Zim Papers great.
Holla holla, it's your boy George Billionaire and you're listening to Cappy Talk 100.4 FM, Harare's Heartbeat. With yours truly, BeckyK.
We are back on Hustle Hard with George Billionaire. No responses yet on whether people know what they want to do in the next 5 years. And it was either a simple yes or no. And I think it's because some people don't even know what they want to do next week.
Yeah.
Or like on Wednesday. Like, do you know what you want to do on Wednesday? Or what you should be doing on Wednesday?
Yeah. And this goes on to deliberately say that a lot of people don't know what they want because they lack what's called planning. They don't have what is called...
Hold on. Just need to sort out that mic. Need to sort that one out.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I think it's good now. Later now.
Wait, no, but yes, please.
Okay. So my own camera.
All right, guys, we just need to sort out something. For those of you who are tuned in live on radio, you're probably hearing some nice music going on. I'm with George Billionaire in studio, and on Hustle Hard, we talk about, just gearing you up for life, gearing you up. Yes, everyone is hustling, everyone is doing something, but we want you to move from a point of trying to work for something and then you're at startup for 5 years. your business is still called a startup. No, this is what we're trying to change. When we are on Hustle Hard, we try to change your mindset, especially. We're focusing so much on the mind. Today's topic is don't focus on what others are doing, but focus on what you are doing, your own progress. Like you, what is it that you are doing? Set your own goals, set your own standards, set the things that you want personally, not anybody else's, right? Yours personally. They come in. Right, so we're just sorting something out. Take issues.
I'm sure.
Sure?
Yeah, try. Just put it on remote 1, 2 and check. 1, 2.
All right, looks like we are back. All right, yes, we are back.
Right.
Yeah, so sorry about that. Okay, so we need to understand that the focus has to be on your progress. The focus has to be on what you are doing and not what the other person is doing. Yes, perfect. And the focus is not on what the other person is doing. And when you don't focus on what the other person is doing, then you will know what it is that you want to do in the next 5 years, in the next 3 weeks, in the next year. You will know exactly what it is that you want to do when you are focused on your personal growth. So the last statement you gave us there was that where your focus goes, your energy flows.
You know, BeckyK, in this time and age, once you stop fighting for what you want, right? What you want, what you don't want becomes. Yeah? When you stop fighting for what you want, what you do not want actually becomes manifest in your life. So many people are distracted by so many things. And yeah, you know, there's some people who say, I grew up poor. I never went to a good school. And they have so many excuses, Tyson syndromes of speaking, you know, because they want to blame everybody else.
Yeah.
But when you don't fight for what you want, what you do not want in your life becomes.
How do I know what to fight for and what to just let go and be like, you know what? This
I can tell you majority of people are not happy with one stream of income or one salary.
Okay.
Right? And there's a time and season. I spoke so many times about how I did not want to continue earning $300. And I had to get to a point and stage where I had served in a former air conditioning company. I had served in various institutions before, but I decided that, listen, if I don't jump out of this ship, right, I'm never going to have the life that I ultimately want. And one thing about me growing up, I always used to write down a lot of things. I had big dreams growing up,
right?
You know, and my focus growing up was on people who had made it in life. You see shows like this is what I would want to learn and listen to and say, how did this guy make it? And my focus was on business people. And when I learned a lot, some of the things that I am today and I have amassed are because my focus was on specific people who succeeded. So I learned and I adapted those principles into my personal life.
Okay.
Now, had I not jumped, trust you me, I would still be living the life of that $300 a month back then. But because I decided and I made a deliberate choice to say, you know what, I want to focus on growing something. I want when people look at me, they say, you know what, this guy followed his passion and his gut and he succeeded in it. And you know, the word of God goes on to say in Genesis 1:28, there are 3 things, BeckyK, that God said we are supposed to do when we are on this planet.
Right.
3 things. When God created everybody, I don't care who you are, where you are, God has 3 specific things that he wants all of us to be. Right? In Genesis 1:28, he says you should multiply, you should be fruitful, and you should dominate. 3 things.
Oh my gosh, this is gonna
3
drive
things.
me crazy.
3 things that those 3 things right. So those 3 things are what God has ordained everybody on this planet to be.
Be fruitful,
Be
multiply,
multiply,
and dominate.
And dominate.
And this is not just in like offspring. Huh?
No, not offspring
Come
alone.
on.
This is in life.
Talk to
so
us.
there are others who think multiply and offspring. No, in all areas.
Dude.
So over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air.
Yeah.
This is what God purposed and mandated everybody to do.
Absolutely.
So iwewe wakararama upenyu ungoine one stream of income. You are not fulfilling your God-ordained purpose and plan. You are limiting yourself because of the choices you are choosing to remain being a single stream person. But you can actually be more. And it begins with focusing on you.
Right.
What do you want to be? Some of us listening right now are in employment. Some of us have started. But what's your long-term goal? Do you want to remain in employment all your life? If you're going up the corporate ladder, that's great. But there's so many people who've gone up the corporate ladder who I know, when they are retrenched, trust you me, because they don't have a stream of income and they were used to getting fuel from the company, their fees being paid for by the organization. Guess what happens? They crumble because they only relied on one stream of income.
Yeah.
So where your energy goes, your energy flows. You need to make a deliberate effort this year to say, you know what, I want to better myself. I want to self-develop myself. And it starts by some of the amazing things we've spoken about here. Associate with different people. That focus has to be, you know what, this year, and this could have on phone Friday, and they could
And they don't call you for anything else.
That's it. Then you've got lack of focus. You have to be focused to say, sorry, I can't. This year, learn to say no on things that go against your focus. Learn to say
no on things that go against
what you're focusing
what
on.
you're focusing on.
You want to be a better individual in regards to
Learn to say no.
Learn to say no. It's a simple thing, but majority of people, usually they always go with me. But understand, our focus is different. Our dreams are different. Where we want to end up in life is different. I made it a deliberate choice when I wanted to go on the journey with Pro Air. So many of my friends told me, it will not work, it will not succeed. But what I deliberately did, I went and I started hanging around with people who were with the same focus I had. People who are business-minded people. And because of their focus on having successful businesses, it rubbed on to me. Now, some of my friends who said that, some of them are still in employment. Some of them are still staying with their parents. Hear that correctly.
Right.
But I made this decision a decade ago. And where I am is not where they are. So if your lack of focus is going to hinder your growth and where you're supposed to be on this planet. Now, a tree was meant to be a tree. It stays in one place and a tree grows. That's the good thing. Everything created by God grows.
Come on.
But if you look at individuals, it's also we have untapped potential to go anywhere. We can travel. We can have businesses all over the world. But imagine where you are today. A tree is doing far better than Iwewe.
Hey, come on.
A tree is actually producing fruit and branches. And it's actually creating shade. But what are you doing? And your lack of focus, trust you me, sooner than later. So many people think we have so much time. But time is and trust you me, you're going to be like me, who turned 40 just now, and I'm going to be 50. And then what are you going to leave your next generation? What are you going to do? Our parents did actually a better thing. My parents bought a house in Glenora, and that was an achievement back then.
Yes, it was.
But because Wakakurra from a poor family, it's not an excuse for you to die poor. You have to become the first millionaire because of your laser focus on what you want to achieve. And this is deliberately choosing, I'm not going to associate with people who hinder my focus. I'm deliberately going to have to read self-development books. I'm going to deliberately make sure every single day I'm going to work hard on this craft and research and do, and that focus, trust you me, sooner than later. There's that principle, 10,000 hours. Wakarambo chita chino deliberately, over and over and over again. You become a master of that craft. But because of your lack of focus, you're going to be ordinary like everybody else. But because of the decision I made, trust you me, there are so many people who have made it in this country of Zimbabwe. Wakaona think about it right now. Wakafunga munhu who has made it successfully. Look at what they do. Look at places they don't go. Look at their lifestyle. They don't do things to please other people. They are focused on their goals. They're not concerned with azonzi chi, he did this, hey, he doesn't deserve this, whatever it is. But understand, if you see yourself focusing on other people's success and not your own, it means you're going to die POOR. You are not going to become anything in life because your focus is misdirected on kuda kunyeya vamwe vanhu. But what you need to do is, George, I want to become great. I want to become a household name in the air conditioning sector. What do I need to do? I need to focus. I need to go to expos. I need to understand things that I have not done before in the air conditioning sector. And when you begin to focus on that, you become a guru at that.
Yeah.
And provide a solution, a product, and a service. And guess what? After a couple of years, you become the most preferred air conditioning company, or whatever it is that you're doing in that line. But the lack of focus, which is replaced by excuses. Because monasna focus an excuse. It's simple.
Standard.
If you can't focus and say, listen, I read my book every morning. Right?
Oh, speaking of reading books, and in line with what you just said, with the 10,000 hours and becoming a master of it, I remember I asked you but why do you read only 20 minutes of the book if I can do 30 minutes or an hour? And you were like, all right, if you can do 30 minutes an hour, perfect. But you want to start with small little bites,
Small steps.
yes, small steps that grow eventually into something big. So I used to do like my reading in the evening, right? And I tried, okay, let me try this thing that George does where he reads a book for like 20 minutes. And I put the timer on. So 6 o'clock I'm up, there's prayers that I'm doing. 6 o'clock, 6 to 7, right? 6 to 7, prayers up. And then 7 o'clock to 20 past 7, there's a book that I'm reading.
Yeah.
And I like literally finished the chapter. I was so shocked. I put the timer on, and when the timer went off, I stopped, whether the word was saying off or being. That last word that I read, I would like stop right there, and I'll be like, okay, that's my 20 minutes done. Write down some few notes, maybe like an extra 5 minutes, writing down some notes, sticky notes and everything in the book, and then I'm done with that. And then I get ready for like coaching sessions, take a bath, and then get ready to do other stuff if I have errands and stuff like that. But I discovered structuring my day like that has actually put order.
That's right.
In my life, because I'm naturally not an orderly person. I need things to be in compartments and put it here like this. I need reminders and all of that. So when you put those things in place and working towards the thing that you really, really, really want at the end of the day, it really helps. I just had to put it in there.
And that's focus. So
Yeah.
if you start to do things deliberately, and what happens after a while, you'll actually begin to see, wait a minute, this book, my mindset is being transformed. And on Hustle Hard, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to renew your mindset from Jamaka Woods, Wamuchikura, and the lifestyle that you have.
Absolutely.
Because success leaves clues.
Yes,
If you
it
keep
does.
listening to us, you're going to start talking like us. You're going to start acting and believing in the manner that we believe. And what happens with people who have a positive self-mindset, trust you me, those people usually end up becoming successful. So to he or she akapedzera kuverenga rovambira in school,
Oh,
you
come
need
on.
to start
Do
reading
you have to go
a book.
there?
No, there are people. You need to start reading a book. You need to stop listening to music in your car and go on YouTube and begin to listen to things that
That
uplift
builds.
you.
That's true.
Because that's focus for you.
That's true.
There's so many things that have changed in this modern day and age that can self-help you by yourself, besides listening to this amazing radio station and listening to us. So once you begin to focus on what the things that you want, those things will begin to be attracted to you.
Yeah.
You become more knowledgeable on those things. And sooner than later, your life will change. And ultimately, what we want is people's lives to change because of the focus they have. I know what I'm focused on achieving this year. My kids know what they're focused on. Imagine us in the 21 January. and ausati wanyora zvinhu zvauda kuita.
Come
It's
on
not,
now.
it's not goals. It's not, we're tired of writing goals.
Because we never work towards them anyway.
But become so focused on a day, a little step. Do you know, if you're so focused, I have a very strategic, simple day. I meet 5 people a day, 25 people a week, in a month. That's it. That's me. 5 people a day. That's my focus. That's all I do.
And making money with all those meetings.
After I meet those 5 people, I go for lunch, and then I meet a whole lot of other people.
Yeah.
But my 5 appointments are done for the day. So imagine if you make strategic steps to say, listen,
helps,
I'm going to call a minimum of 30 people per day. If that becomes
But
your
with
focus,
a plan, ka.
if that becomes your focus, you're going to be the top salesperson. You're going to be the top in whatever you're doing because you're focused. I like the movie Will Smith, The Pursuit of Happiness.
Oh yeah.
He was focused because anga pressure. He would have changed other things and all this, and he was, a single dad and all that. But it taught me that if you're focused enough on something, your energy will flow to that thing and you will flourish. But your lack of focus, which is defined as your excusatitis, and you're blaming the government, blaming the weather, and I can't do this, you find something else, you always find a reason to hinder you from focusing. But I'm so amazed at those people who have lack of focus, but they can actually sit down, pamberi TV, and watch soccer for 2 hours, and watch a Netflix thing. But those things are not paying you. They are paying somebody else. What can you focus on and become so good at? Be it your makeup artistry, being, working on your barber skills, working on whatever it is to make people look for you and exchange their money for your product or service. But your lack of focus thereof has caused people...
Has got you where you are.
To stay where you
right
are.
Now.
And people are going to, the Bible says, the poor you'll always have. I've said, I may have been born poor, but deliberately, I'm not going to die poor because of my focus. I know what I want.
Yeah.
I know the lifestyle that I want. And majority of people listening to us today have high expectations in life. But lack of focus is going to cause you to remain where you are, and you're going to become gray and old without even having a house or even achieving certain things.
We've got 4 minutes to round up the show. There's questions and lots of contributions that are coming through. But we will do a pulse check and then come back to finish off the last 3 minutes with the questions and the contributions that you have sent through.
Capital 100.4 FM.
Our pulse check for today is a quotation by William. I'm trying to see.
A quote.
Yeah. And it says, be a witness, not a judge. Focus on yourself, not on others. Listen to your heart and not to the crowd. That's our pulse check for today. And then getting into the questions, how do I cope with potentially losing people with such a move? Because you are going to lose people when you focus on yourself. Should I be worried about losing people? Remember, we've got 3 minutes.
Yeah,
and then,
trust you me.
Yeah.
If you focus on people, your life will never change. You need to focus. You do you. This life is about you. It's about you finishing the race. 100 meters. Don't worry about who's to your left or to your right. You're all running individual races. People have different purposes and mandates that God sent them here to be.
Right.
She doesn't, or he doesn't want to lose those people because it's a comfort zone. And trust me, when you get outside your comfort zone, it can be lonely. But trust you me, behind the doors of your greatest fears lie your greatest treasures. So go the road less traveled, and trust you me, 2, 5, 10 years down the line, you'll appreciate the decision that you made.
Becky George is right. Your past must not be an excuse for success. If you did not come from a rich family, the rich family will come from you. Only if you focus.
True that.
Becky George is not lying. I have a relative. Becky George is not lying. Yes, I agree with that one. My young Vatejara died poor. He concentrated more on prayers, January to December. Vachienda kumakomo chete, and no work put in. And the powerful words. Thank you, George. Tiri kudzidza. And the focus is a big topic. I was watching, I was watching eagles fight for a fish, but the fish fell and they continued fighting until they became bloody and fell down too. Even in church, people are now focusing on fighting other churches. It's a week's topic.
True that.
Focus. So,
Yeah.
what are you working on? Keep your eye on the prize.
That's it.
Price was the fish, but the eagles discovered with Iwaka, but now we're fighting, and then focus was off the fish, and now it's a bloody scene and all of that. I think we can continue next week on this topic of focus, branch out into as many branches as we can until the pulses get the help that they need. George, your contacts, where can people find you?
Right. On social media, I'm George Billionaire on all platforms, and I tell you, if you follow me, I will transform your mindset to begin to believe in yourself and actually become a better individual than you are today.
I have it. Like, I'm sold. Putting up my ticket. It's 1 o'clock. Stand by for the news on Capital 100.4 FM.